Questions. Ramuji is saying that's how they catch monkeys. I didn't know that. I don't know is it a joke or is it real? I don't know.
No, no,
Yeah.
not a joke. It's a real thing.
Oh, really?
They catch the monkeys by that one.
Oh my God. Absolutely amazing. Haraprasad, go ahead.
Mahodaya, what does it meant by saying that this Jagat is apparent? What does that mean?
This Jagat is
Apparent.
correct. Okay.
The reason why I'm asking this is the translation of Purnam Adaha and Purnam Idam, the word Idam is translated as this Jagat is apparent and that is full.
Oh. Purnamadaha.
Purnamidam. I'm talking about Purnam Idam.
Right. Right. Purnamidam. So, see, apparent. See, apparent means what? What is the meaning of the word apparent?
Apparent means it indicates some kind of a falseness into it.
There is some falseness. What you think about it is not totally correct. That is the idea.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So, apparent here means mithya. Apparent means not as real as you think it is. Not as real as you think it is. Correct? But there is something more real than what you think as real. Therefore, it is apparent. Idam Jagat, apparently real. That's the way I put it. Apparently real. See, what is reality? See, it depends on the author, what the author is trying to communicate at that point there. Translation means again, it's apparent. Suppose somebody says, okay, Jagat, this is a good example of Jagat, right? Pot is a good example of Jagat, a part of Jagat. Is pot, how do you characterize pot? Pot is idam. Idam means this Jagat, pot. Can we say pot is apparent?
No. No.
Can't say. Then how can that person translate idam as apparent?
This is the translation from one of the Swamijis of one of the disciples of. Okay.
Right, got it, got it. So in our explanation of Purnamadaha, it may come differently, but I'm trying to justify that word apparent. I'm trying to justify that word apparent, right? And so this apparent existence, which is incomplete, apurnam, okay, come back to human being. Come back to human being. I don't feel complete at all. I am incomplete. So that is apparent. That feeling is apparent. There is no absolute reality to that feeling. Okay, that's one way, looking at the jiva. And looking at the world also, the pot is real if I say, Shastram has to come and say, if you take off, if you use the word real for pot, what word will you use for clay? Let me repeat that question. If you use the word real to explain pot, what word will you use for clay? What adjective will you use for clay? That is a question. Because now word real is used for pot. Now if I say pot is real, clay is also real if I say, then Shastram says, okay, there is a language problem here. Because we know very well that the reality of the clay and reality of the pot are somewhat different. There's a difference, big difference, because clay was there for a long time, clay will be there for a long time. Pot will come and go. Pot will come and go. So Shastram does not like to use the same word for clay and pot. In this example, Therefore, the Shastram can say, if it is talking in English, clay is real. And if I use up the word real for clay, what word can I use for pot? In English, there is no other word. I will say, pot is apparently real. Apparently real. It feels real to you. That's what you said, right? Feeling. There is a feeling. Don't. Let's not bring new words which can mean very different things. Surreal can mean many, many other things. Apparently real. Just to explain that Swamiji's word apparent. That's all. So idam is apparent if he says, okay, I can accept that. Idam is Jagat. Just like the pot is apparently real, the world also is apparently real. Perfect. Nothing. I don't have a problem with that. Apparently real. But Purnam, he is hopefully bringing in Purnam into that, etc. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Purnam has to be brought. The Purnam can come only from clay. Only the real thing can give Purnam. Apparently, real thing can't give me Purnam.
Well, that's why my problem is the translation, Purnamidam. They say this apparent world is Purna. That is the translation.
No, if I was Hariji, is there an explanation to the translation? See,
No.
See, translations are needed. I don't disagree with that. But there's something has to back up the translation. Is there a backup to that? Is what I'm asking.
No.
So,
No, there is none. It's just the translation. I mean, I understand when that thing is Purna, I understand. When they say this thing that is Jagat, apparent Jagat is Purna, that's where the problem is.
Purnam. See, Jagat has come from Purnatvam, correct? Jagat has come from Purnam Brahma.
Yes.
So the Purnam is the essence of the Jagat. Essence of the Jagat. It's like wave has come from water.
Yeah.
So the essence of wave is water. Wave is destructible, but water is not destructible. Therefore, when you say wave is Purnam, we have a problem there. Is there a problem when you say wave is Purnam?
Well, according to this, it is true, but there is a problem.
Yeah, so the essence of the Jagat is Purnam, Purnatvam. And if Brahman has become the world, if Brahman has become the world, like the milk has become yogurt, same 100 grams or 500 grams only, same, nothing, no. Same thing. Okay. Last night it was this, now it is this. So like that, Brahman was there long ago. Brahman was Purnam. Then suddenly it became this world. Say, Brahman became the word like this milk has become. Then there is no Purnatva. Because Brahman is not there anymore. Brahman is not there anymore, and it has become the world. And world also is as real as Brahma. Brahman is as real as the world. And it is all Savikar. It's all savikaram. It's all sagunam. And sagunam is not nityam. Savikaram is not nityam. Nityam is eternal. We are looking for the eternal here, the permanent. Correct? And sagunam can't be. So, and then agama pai it becomes. Then it becomes an object of perception. And then that is not Brahma. Then how did this Brahma become the word? Purna madaha, Purna midam. How did the Brahma become the word? It is called Adhyasaha. Adhyasaha. How did water become the wave? How did water become the wave? How did clay become pot?
Because there was a pot because there was a pot maker.
Yeah. And what did he do?
He created the pot maker. The Brahman being the Upadana Karana and Nimitta Karana, he did it.
He converted clay to pot.
Yeah, he converted the clay to pot using his powers.
Using fire, no? So that's another medium, energy.
The clay became pot.
Mhm,
Clay became pot.
mhm.
If clay became pot, clay should not exist. If clay became pot, clay should not exist. Because pot only exists. Pot, a pot maker made a pot. You just told me that. He used clay and made pot. So the only object I see is pot. I should not see clay.
No, the clay has transformed into pot.
Ah, oh, wait. Now you're changing language. Let's get back slowly. Clay has transformed into pot. All right. Transformed into pot means what? That pot is a separate object or what? Is an object different from clay or what?
No,
Ah, that no is a very big no. It is. It's a very important no. Correct. Pot is not separate from clay. Pot is not independent of clay. Pot is not an object that is totally independent of clay. In fact, not independent at all. Pot is just a form of clay. Just a form of clay. But even though we say just say the word just, but that just is what makes the difference between samsara and moksha. Because this is all clay. Every part of this object is clay. And still I refuse to, I say pot. Okay, it's useful in transaction, it's useful. Get me the pot, get me the cup, get me water, get me this is very useful. But I don't see an object called pot. I see only clay. It just happens to have taken a shape, and that shape is what I'm calling pot. So the objectness of the pot is in question. That is why that Swamiji is using the word apparent. The objectness, the reality that I can attribute to the pot is not questionable. Because the clay is very much there and clay is raising its hand when it says, who exists? Clay exists. What about pot? Hey, pot, do you exist? Yeah, pot also exists. Okay, it exists obviously. Otherwise, where is the question of this dialogue without pot existing? Guess what? On adhyasa. Adhyasa means a pot is projected on the clay. Yes. Because the reality belongs. The reality of the pot belongs to clay. It doesn't belong to pot at all. Pot is projected on an existent clay. Something has to exist. Then on that existent thing, I can project whatever I want. And I call it pot, I call it vase, I call it this, I call it that. Okay, that is what Swamiji is saying. Apparent. Apparent. Okay, tentatively existing. That's all. Just for now it exists. Really speaking, even that for now is not there. Because there is no independent existence of pot. So therefore, Purnam idam, Purnam adaha. That Brahma is Purnam.
Correct.
World of clay, in the world of clay, clay is Purnam. Clay was,
Correct.
clay is, clay will always be there.
Correct.
Purnam idam. Okay. This clay, this pot, the new world of clay objects is also Purnam in the sense that it is not separate from the Purnam Ataha. It is not standing separate from Purnam. Purnam is there and pot is here. Purnam is there and I am here. It's not like that at all. From that Purnam Brahma came this entire Jagat, including me. Therefore, the essence of me must be that Purnam. Because the pot, essence of the pot is clay only. Pot didn't, nothing has anything. The pot's resume has nothing. Pot's resume has nothing to offer. Because the color belongs to clay, the smell belongs to clay, the density belongs to clay, existence belongs to clay. So what is the resume of the pot? It will show a resume. It will show a resume. I can hold water, I can do this, my volume is this much, and all it can say, all right. But it's a shaky resume. If anybody questions all this, it all belongs to the clay. That is why Swamiji is saying apparent.
Correct.
That is
Okay.
my way of giving the benefit of doubt to Swamiji.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Dhanyavad Mahavir.
Thank you. Remaji, go ahead.
Guruji, I hope I can articulate myself. First, the meaning of the word Bahulam. I would like to know that. The second thing.
Yeah, go ahead. Ask the question.
Okay. The second part of we were talking about Dehabhimana and afraid of the discomfort and to physicalize the devotion. Now, it's called Rajasic renunciation. But when you talk about the fear, it is experienced through the mind, the physical discomforts. Even if you are severely handicapped, there is that option of the mind being able to connect and do its practices. But I think the Dehabhimana prevents that thought of non-existing. That is the fear, actually. It's a fear of death. When you do the practices, and there is a possibility, or the mind imagines, that when there is the Jiva Brahma Aikyam, you cease to exist. So is that a fear of that, or is it just physical discomfort to prevent us from doing our practices? Seems very ordinary. But you did mention the word both mind and body, so the question triggered. Am I getting it clear? I don't know.
Yeah, good. I mentioned in between, I mentioned mine. I remember that.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Now, here Krishna is purely talking about impact on the body. That's all. From all the karmas. So the laziness to do karma, or the difficulty of doing karma. Preparatory work, in fact, is even more than the actual karma itself. Actual karma will be over in 1 hour, 2 hours maximum, half an hour maximum. But the preparatory work is bad. That is why if you go to some homes, they'll say, the guy wants to do puja, but he will order everybody. You go get the money, you go get the flower, get me the water, get me the panchamatram. Seriously, you see some places, this is how this guy is sitting quietly, sitting there. Hey, this you go get your own path. Go fill it up. You are doing the puja, they are doing the puja. You want to do the puja, you get your stuff. Getting your stuff is a very big thing. And so here only Krishna is talking about that. He's not, we should not bring in all this metaphysics into this. And fear of death and all, no need to bring. So just pure karma and karma tyaga. So, so that's the way
So
we should.
alasya, essentially, he's referring to alasya.
Bahulam. Many types. Bahu means many.
Huh.
Many types of this one.
Reticence to do what you need to do.
Ayasa means prayatna, effort, and the complementary. Whenever I put effort, there is going to be some discomfort. The mind also is resisting, and body also, of course, is resisting, and so double resistance is coming, and that is called ayasa. Ayasa. That's all that we should take from this sloka. But you brought up an interesting thing, fear of death and all. So that's different. That's a different context.
Now, when you mentioned the mind, I was wondering whether there was more context to that, or maybe it'll come later on.
Yeah, here we don't have to bring death because here purely doing karma. Why a person does not do karma? That's all.
Just not.
Fear of death
Thank
while doing karma, we don't have to bring because that's not the type of karma we're talking. But now,
Thank you.
remember, we have to interpret this, right? So, saying like this, but what about people with physical disabilities?
Mhm.
What about a paraplegic who is on the wheelchair? And you
He
give a
can
lecture
still do
like this, will it make sense to that person? No, it won't make sense to the person. So everything has to be interpreted. Hey, that person is, you can't take everything literally. Everything has to be interpreted based on context. Interpret. But the person will have good words to say. The person will sit on the chair and say, you do this. No, that's not the way to do it. Don't ring the bell now. Ring it later. See, he's contributing to the yajna. If he's able to speak and all that, articulate. So everything has to be interpreted. Our Shastra, you cannot afford to take anything literally. Only Brahma, which is Satyam, is literally to be taken. So what is not literal, we keep taking literally. What is to be taken literally, we are going around, using poetic words and rhetoric and this.
Thank you, Guruji.
Good. Yes, go ahead. Yeah, Maheshji, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I have a question. How do you give up the result? Because how do you do the phalatyaga? Because every action there will be a result, whether you like it or not.
Correct. So that's a good question. So question is, what do you mean by giving up of result?
Yeah.
Okay. So every karma will have a result. Will have a result. It's guaranteed. Whether I know what the result is or not, it is going to be there. It's going to be there. I may not know what the phalam is going to be. Okay. Now, that I can't change. That is the law of nature. That is Ishvara at work. And karma will have karma phalam. That I can't change. There's no way I can change. So I can't say, no, may this karma not give any result. No, I can't say that. I can't say that because karma will produce result. Depending on what you do or what you don't do. Accordingly, the result will be there. That's given. That's not in my hands. That's not in the hands of the jiva. Okay? That's eliminated. That possibility is eliminated. Then, next possibility is what? Next possibility is is the following. Karma will be there, but I do it, phalam will be there, sorry. Phalam will be there, but I do it because it must be done. It must be done by me. All our niyata karmas fall in this category. It must be done category. Now it must be done. But there is an expectation. What is the expectation? Why are we all religious? Hey, there is an expectation because the Shastram is telling me, and there is a phalam, punya phalam for all these things. Punya phalam is adrishtam later, but there is also drishta phalam also. There is Aishwaryam, there is good health, everything and all. We need all these things. This phalam is also there. Basic security needs are there. That phalam also I will get when I do the karma. Therefore, all karma is done with an expectation of a result. Let's say material result. Expectation of a material result. Including punyam. Punyam also material result. For a later material result. Okay. All right. If that's acceptable, is it possible to say, I am now going to do my karma regardless of what the result is? This is the question we have to ask ourselves. Regardless, let the result be there. Suppose I do Sandhya Vandanam in the morning. Morning puja is there. I do. Mahopata Samasta Durita Chaitwara Sri Parameshwara Prityartham Sri Parameshwara Prityartham. Look at that. Sri Parameshwara Prityartham. Means what? Not for my Priti, not for my Subhiksha, for Parameshwara Prityartham. Means what? Already there is a Palatyaga. Already there is a Palatyaga.
I thought Parameshwara Prityatami to appease Parameshwara, isn't it?
Correct. So now I'm going to look at it differently. I'm going to say I'm doing the Sandhya Vandanam because it has to be done. That's it. There's no other result because I don't know anyway. Anyway, I don't know what the result is going to be. Correct? Can I claim I know what the result is? No, it's not. Because it's pure Shastra karma, mandated by Shastra, which is supposed to give punyam, etc. Now, if I say I can reduce my material desires, correct? I can tell myself, I need that antakarana shuddhi. I need it desperately. Even if it means it's a loss of material punyam. So that antakarana shuddhi and moksha don't fall in any phalam category. You know why it doesn't fall in the phalam category? Because it's something you can't measure also. You can't measure and you can't will it also. You can't will it. So that antakarana shuddhi, maximum, that's all I will ask for. Whatever I do, I'm doing it because it must be done. That itself is enough. That itself will give me antakarana shuddhi. And so here, Palatyaga is referring to the material Palatyaga, not spiritual phalam. Spiritual phalam is what? Is moksha. Moksha. And in our Advaita Siddhanta, moksha is through antakarana shuddhi. May you give me antakarana shuddhi. Even that, what Shankaracharya says at one place, even that I don't have to ask. Do you know why? Because it has to happen. Even God cannot stop it. If I do my karma that I have supposed to do, then automatically antakarana shuddhi has to come. You don't even have to ask for it. Therefore, I keep doing the karma. Whether it comes or not, is it like I'm measuring every day? Am I getting antakarana shuddhi? No. It is no way to measure also. No need to measure. Sampradaya is there. Shastram is there. Therefore, long answer to your short question is, Palatyagaha means material Palatyagaha. Palatyagaha means not specifically saying that I want this phalam or that phalam. Both. definition Shankara gives for Palatyaga. Okay. Because Antashirana Shuddhi you can't remove. As a phalam, you can't remove. And so that's the answer.
Yeah, but normally, I mean, we do Nitya Karma or Nainitya Karma. I don't know, at least I was not doing it expecting some result because that is a duty to be done. Unlike, say, praying to going to the temple or praying, you may have something in mind. But when you do, say, 2 times or 3 times Sandhya Vandanam and or any other Amavasya Tarpanam or Shraddham or whatever those Nainitya karma, I don't know. I mean, do it without, maybe it is all embedded in the mantra, but
That is the answer to your question, which is you have never done Sandhya Vandanam expecting some result. Now we stretch that view to all the karmas we do. Going to temple also, same idea. Can I go to the temple with the same idea? That's a question I have to ask. Just like I did Sandhya Vandanam without really expecting anything. It's because it is to be done. Yajna, dana, tapaha. Everything now put in that same bucket as Sandhya Vandanam. Because kartavya is going to say next. And so that's it. That the fact that we are already doing Niyata Karma without expecting any results. Now you stretch it to Yajna, Dana, Tapa, which is also Niyatam, really speaking. So all through, let that idea be there in my mind all the time, as far as possible. Swami Paramartha says, reduce the material requirements and then increase the spiritual outlook. So Maheshi, that's the answer. That's a clue we already have. The fact that we are already there doing the karmas shows that we can bring in that mindset to everything else we do. Everything else becomes a karma, niyatam karma. Yeah, Aniruddha, go ahead.
Thanks. So, did we not in 1723 onwards, Om Tat Saditi Nirdesho and so on, isn't that the way to give up results of any karma, including physical or basically invoking Om Tat Sad and Adhishtan Devta in while doing even your prescribed duties? Isn't that what I thought? Maybe I jumped too many steps there. Isn't that the way to not be attached to any of the results, be they physical or as you said, antakaran shuddhi or whatever?
Right. So the Shravanam is meant for appreciating that karma is finite and karma phalam also will be finite.
Finite, yes.
Whatever I want, I have to put it in the finite category.
Yes.
Knowing that, why will I keep asking for the same finite again and again? Okay, I whatever I ask is going to be finite. Going to be finite. Finite is needed. Food is also finite. Finite food is needed. Oxygen also is finite, but finite oxygen is very important. Okay.
Correct.
Okay, but when it comes to moksha, why will I ask anything that I ask which is not moksha is going to be amoksha? It is anitya. Therefore, niyatam kuru karmatvam should be the logic.
Correct.
Should be the logic.
Correct.
So Om Tat Sat, yeah, These are all tools given to us to sanctify everything that we do.
Correct. Correct.
Correct?
Correct. Correct.
So that it becomes easier and easier for me to appreciate this vision and be able to confidently say, yes, I can convert every act of mine into a
Exactly. Correct.
this karma that I do every day.
That is correct. That is correct. And by doing so, clearly the phalam, whichever that may be, gets sanctified, so to speak. I mean, I'm using a word, maybe improper, but essentially that is what is sort of in my mind. That is what is sort of Brahmarpanam, 424 Brahmarpanam, Brahmavi, right? I mean, those are the ways to kind of tie all of these thoughts together. Is how I was looking at it.
So that karma phala tyaga is needed for me to see the vision of Brahmarpanam.
Correct. Correct.
Otherwise, my attention is on karma and karma phala.
Correct.
My whole life is spent on that. So how to come out of that is what he's talking about here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank
Guruji, namaste. I was just, I wanted to know how can a finite mind superimpose samsara on Purnam? Because Purnam is what the mind doesn't know about. It has no idea about Purnatvam. So how can that superimpose samsara, which is apparent?
Correct. So that's a good question. So here the question is, we talked about adhyasa. And so how is adhyasa possible on a thing that you don't know?
Yeah.
That's a question. Now, can you project a snake on a thing that you don't know?
No.
Yes or no? Here is saying no. Any other answers?
I know only about the snake. If I don't know the other thing, I can't project on it.
Any other answers?
No, you project a snake only because the object on which you are projecting looks like a snake. You didn't project a lion on a rope.
Okay.
But I have to know both.
So here is the idea. First of all, an object must exist. Must exist. There must be an object. But I don't need to know the object. I don't need to know what it is. You come outside the door and suddenly you see a snake. You don't even have time to see what it is. If you knew what it is, there is no way you will be projecting. If you knew the object, then you won't be projecting at all. Question of projection itself is not there. Because I don't know the object, I am projecting. I am projecting and concluding something else. But I must know there is something. But that there is something, but I don't know what that something is. And therefore, that's the right moment for me to project. The situation is so ripe that I can project. Okay. Now, back to Brahma. Brahma exists. Brahma happens to be Atma. Shankara says Brahmacha Atma. In Brahma Sutra Bhashya, he says Brahmacha Atma. So Brahma exists. No, I don't know Brahma exists. No. Fine. But Brahma is Atma. Do you know that you exist? Yeah, I do exist. That is enough. That is enough. You may not know about Brahma, all this Shankara Bhashyam, this, that, Brahma Sutra, and all you don't know except that. But you exist. And the minute you exist, it means that the world also exists like that. World exists means what? Now, existence is there. Existence is given. Existence is appreciated. Then I can say what exists and all. I can appreciate the existence of things because already that existence is there, not known as Brahman, etc. But projection has taken over. Exactly like the minute you opened the door, you saw a snake. That's it. You saw a snake. You don't know what it is, but you saw a snake. You are very sure also that it's a snake. And so the journey is all about removing that adhyasa, recognizing that there is adhyasa. So that's a discussion point. In Brahma Sutram it comes. And in other commentaries he will say, Purvapakshi will say, ask this question. How, when I don't know Brahma, how can I project something on Brahma? A very important question it is. Think about it, guys. Yeah. So that projection does happen. Because existence is given. Existence is given. But what is that existence? I don't know. Complete ajnana about existence. Complete ajnana about Atma. Everything is there, but I don't know what it is. And so when I don't know something, there are two options I have. I can say I don't know. I see something, but I don't know what it is. Or I have to project something on it and start talking about it and giving lectures on that. These are the only two options we have. There's no other option. So that's what happens.
So in the when we look at things and many people say this is a table, this is a chair, that means collectively we are projecting.
Yeah, it's a collective projection. Correct.
All of them are in the same level of ignorance.
So that means collectively we are connected. That's what it says.
Repeat the question.
That means collectively we are connected with the knowledge, and projection also is collective.
Collective means what? Which are you referring to as collective?
Samuhika.
The means all of us, what we see as different, we are somewhere at some point same, identical. Something is same. Otherwise, how can we collectively project? So maybe the knowledge is same. I don't know.
Well, you're saying collective, you're referring to all different human beings.
Yeah. What
And
we see is different.
How come everybody is projecting identically like this?
What if everybody says this is a table?
So it could be ignorance which is same, or it could be knowledge which is, Purnatvam. Because of that, the ignorance is
Collective. It's not collective because everybody has the same ignorance. Everybody has the same ignorance. That snake also, the other guy also who has the same ignorance will say the same thing. So ignorance of the tattvam is the same for everybody. Anadi avidya. And so that's why we're all in this. We're all in one family, right? One family. One big, large, ignorant family. And so that's what Shastra says. So therefore we will project. And among the projections, then there is some argument. What is this? This is stable. Okay, we all will agree that this is stable. We all will agree with what the function of the table is. Okay, table, chair, etc. We all can agree. So there is some agreement. Even within the projection, there is agreement also. Useful.
But isn't that because we have been all told when you grow up, this is table or this is chair. So we go to the memory, pick that. So everybody picks the same thing. Just like seeing a rope, you pick a snake because you are comparing the size and shape, what you saw for a fraction of a second with what is in your memory. You know that it is not an elephant, it is not a tiger, it is not that, doesn't fit into it. So the closest thing we can fit in is a snake for a rope example. So just like that, table, chair also, we have been told this is chair, this is table, or this is a picture or whatever. So we go to the memory, whatever we know, and most suitable thing we pick.
Right. That's how it works. That's how it is. You can't project a mountain on a rope. Not possible.
I think there should be distinction between knowledge and consciousness we are talking about. If I have unknown, which I have not seen enough, it is out of my knowledge. Once it come to my knowledge, then I know that whether it is being projected onto me or not. Like Maheshji was talking about, the knowledge has already been there. So there is a distinction between knowledge and the consciousness. Because there is a planet which I do not know at this point. They come to force later. That becomes my knowledge today. Till that time, it is unknown. But unknown is also in the same consciousness. Because everything appears in the consciousness. Is it not?
Right. Knowledge of consciousness. That's the way to. Atma Vidya. Ignorance of the self, which is conscious, makes the whole drama happen.
So ignorance we learn or it is inherent?
Avidya is there. It is there for parents and it is also there for children. But just okay, so learned means what? Learning Laukika Jnanam you learn. Yeah, Laukika Jnanam. Whatever you learn is going to be Vyavaharika. Means it's going to be within the framework of cause and effect, within this world. Whatever we learn, whatever we know of, or things of this world, how to live, survive, what to eat, what not to eat, everything. Some of that is learned. That is learned. But it is all within the framework of avidya, which is caused by avidya. That is why Shastram is so important for us. Niyatam karma kuru is so important. That Krishna already said in the third chapter. Why? Because of this problem. Because it is anadi avidya. Anadi avidya vasanaya and all, there is sankalpa is there. And so Shastra karma has to come. And with a thorn only you can remove another thorn. And so with karma only you can remove this idea that karma is going to give me fulfillment. Is it not? Yeah. Learned. What else can we learn? Ignorant people can only teach us ignorance. Pass on. Parampara. Ignorance, it's called avidya parampara. What other parampara we can give? So, that's how it works. The adhyasa. We'll see if we can unfold the adhyasa some other time.
Whether
And there
it is
is a,
known or unknown. Sorry.
and then there is something called adhyasa bhashyam. I told you this before. Very, very, it's one of the greatest pieces of work written by anybody, philosopher, whatever you want to call it. So, we'll learn something from that. There's a Purupaksha Siddhanta and all there. Questions like this will come. One guy says, Brahman exists. Correct? Existence is Brahman. If Brahma exists, I should be able to see it with my eyes and ears. What exists? That's why I'm able to see it. Pen exists. That's why I'm able to see it. Elephant doesn't exist. That's why I'm not able to see elephant. You say Brahman exists, right? Yes or no? Yes. No, I should be able to see it. Why do I need the Vedas for Brahman? Question will be there.
Absence of evidence is evidence of absence.
So all these questions will be there. So, very interesting it is.
So
Okay.
probably the body itself becomes, as we keep understanding, body itself is an adhyasa. So through a substance which is an adhyasa, you will not be able to see Brahman. Which is a part of abhyasa, cannot reveal Brahman.
Adhyasa, you mean adhyasa, right?
Adhyasa, because body itself becomes an object of projection, right?
Yes, it is projected on Brahma. Correct. On Atma, body is projected. Correct.
Yeah, anything with respect to body, eyes, nose, everything becomes finite and apparent later when you understand that. So
Yes.
it doesn't have the capacity to reveal Purnatva.
The body and mind does not have
Has
the
the capacity to reveal Purnatvam, to understand Purnatvam.
Correct. We can't even guess.
Yeah.
We can't even guess. No chance. Some external source has to tell us that. Correct.
It's like the snake projected on the rope and saying rope will bite me.
If I am under the spell of that, then nobody can save me.
Mm.
Some external element has to intervene. Yeah. So we'll pause with that. Thank
The
you.
connection between the object and sorry. What I'm saying is like the connection between the object and the reality is not possible without appearance. Whether it's known or unknown, whatever it is, basically object. So universe, for example. So the connection between the reality versus non-eternal is not possible without appearance.
So
So
Divya
basically
from
everything is an appearance.
Divya from
Everything is an
Mumbai,
appearance.
how do you like these discussions? You must be. I see you're watching, and how do you like all this? You can go ahead and unmute yourself and talk. And some of these people are all so advanced; they are asking all kinds of questions. So, you have some background in all this, or you're just beginning to?
Ignorance. Advanced in ignorance. We are advanced in ignorance.
Right. One second, Divya.
I'm just a passive listener to all these interesting discussions because it's, like a drop in the ocean. So it is just a beginning. So for me, so that way I'm finding it very, very interesting because there are so many perspectives coming through from everybody. And the questions are all so very pertinent and which is in, a realistic projection of a collective nature in the world of so-called apparent delusion. So it is really very interesting. I find it very interesting.
Very
There
good.
is so much of learning. There is so much of learning
Sure.
towards. That we are all. At least I should say that I am into so much of inherent vidya, which needs to be cleansed and led towards the delight of true light, hopefully in the years to come, and the words to be taken. So that's very nice.
Very good. Very good. All right. So we will had a long session. Good. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraya Amrita Kalasha Hastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trailokyanataya Shri Mahavishnave Namaha.